Hello all. So today we are going to perform a POC migration from SQL Server 2019 to Oracle Database 18c in the CDB PDB architecture. I have done certain prerequisites, that is including installation of Oracle XE database as well as installation of SQL Server 2019 and restoration of a sample database named AdventureWorks. Now, as part of this migration, we are going to use SQL Developer, and the migration process includes a couple of steps, including creation of a migration repository, creation of a migration project, and then conversion and translation of data from SQL Server dialect to Oracle dialect, and then finally movement or migration of data from SQL Server to Oracle. Now, without the further ado, let us go ahead and try to install or create a user. I have jotted down all of the scripts here just to save some time, but let me go ahead and create this user. I am into the XEPDB. This is something which we need to make sure if we are on the container database or the root container, we need to change the container to the PDB into which we want to migrate the data. Okay, this has been created. Done. Let me go ahead and create another user or schema in which I am going to migrate the data over. Okay, let me try and connect to the user here. Same username and password. You don't want this in a real world scenario. See PDB1 test save connect. Well, I did not save the password here, but let me do that quickly. Okay. Connect. Good. Okay. Let me also connect to this one. Create a connection here. It's Oracle, username this. XEPDB1 test. Save password, save, connect. All right, let me move all of this remaining steps over to MS SQL DB data. One thing which we need to ensure is that we have the JDBC connection established between SQL Developer and the third-party database, in this instance MS SQL Server. We need to go to this link, https sourceforge.net project JTDS files. Let's go here and go here. Come on, the speed was not that bad. Okay, go to JTDS folder and then navigate to 1.2. There are newer versions, but this is the supported one. Once you are here, download the 1.2.zip, unarchive it, and then go to SQL Developer, Tools, Preferences, Database, and then third-party database drivers, and then JTDS 1.2.jar is the file you need. Once this is done, you should be able to make connection to SQL Server. Okay, SQL Server, name SQL, let's call it SQL Server 2019. Okay, username, say password. Now I could have chosen to use the Windows authentication because I am just performing a demo migration, and I have chosen to use or install both of the databases, SQL Server as Oracle, on the same machine. However, you know, if this might not be the case always, and in case you are in the same domain, you want to migrate the data over, you can use this authentication if you have got the right level of access. Okay, for now, we are just going with SQL Server authentication, and host name is localhost. Again, this would vary in a real world scenario. I'm going to see if there is here anything, nothing, then I'll retrieve the databases. Now you see all of the databases running on the localhost or the SQL Server instance running on localhost are just being displayed here. All of these databases are default databases if you are familiar with SQL Server architecture. Now, what we are going to do is to test, save, connect. Yes, we are able to connect. Wonderful. Okay, now the next step is to create a migration project. There are two ways of doing it. One is to go to, let me actually go here, tools, and then migration, repository management, and create repository. Once this repository is created, then you can go ahead and associate it with the project. However, the best way or easiest way for doing so is that we have already made this connection. Right click on it, navigate to migration repository, associate migration repository. This will create and establish the association at the same time. This is a small database, so okay, migration repository anyway should not take too long. All right, so this has been created. If you click on it, you see all of this has to be populated. As of now, there is nothing here. We have not started with the migration yet, so I'll just go ahead and close it. Okay, now our next step is to convert the data. We have already connected to this database instance. Now, this is the database we want to migrate. You cannot migrate the default databases. Or why would you? Migrate to Oracle. Right click on the database which you want to migrate. For now, we just have one sample database. Click on migrate, and then this will open the migration wizard up. Click on next on the introduction. Repository is the one which we are which we just created and associated here. Let me see, everything looks good. Test, wonderful. No need to select truncate. This is a fresh repository. Next, project name, demo SQL 2019 to ORCL. Oh. Okay, let's select an output directory. Great. SQL to Oracle. Okay. Select next. Source database is of course SQL Server 2019. This says source database, but actually it is the instance which you are getting connected to in SQL Server dialect or terminology. Right, everything looks good. Sorry, yeah, okay. Next, see, you only see the user databases available here. Next, this is the step in which SQL Server data types are getting converted to Oracle data types. You have an option to add new rules if you don't see these rules sufficient enough. You also have the option to edit the rules. For example, if you don't want numeric source data type to be translated to number, you can go ahead and translate or change that rule. For now, I'm going to go ahead with the default one. Click on next, translate. All of these SQL objects are going to get translated to Oracle dialect. Click on, let's click on proceed to summary page. I just want to skip these steps to connect to target database and migrate the data so that I have an opportunity to validate the conversion process. Click on next and finish. Okay, conversion and translation is in progress. This is a sample database, so I don't think there are going to be many objects which needs to be translated or transformed and converted, so this should complete pretty quick. All right, done already. Navigate here to the project, demo SQL 2019 to ORCL. Now you see the second row has been populated. Earlier we only had one row here. We are going to go to captured database objects. You see there are two schemas, sales LT and DBO, which are considered here. Converted database objects are these ones. What we are going to do is to click here, and then you can browse through all of these, but the main objective of stopping the, or skipping the next steps of migrating the data was to ensure that there are, whatever we have captured as part of this process is here, and we are paying attention to the issues into the conversion and capture steps. See, these are the issues which we have encountered. This is a sample database. Again, in real world scenario, this, you would want to ensure that you see, as less issues as possible, and try to, translate and remediate or have a workaround for whatever you are going to see as part of the migration. Now, what we are going to do is, on the converted database object, we are going to right click. Come on. Okay. And click on translate. This will take you back to the migration wizard. Click on next, skipping all of the steps, going straight to translate. You have an option to just select whatever you want for translation, but for now what I'll do is I'll go ahead with everything. Next, target database. We have already established the connection here. Checking everything is good. Yes. Right. Yeah. Drop target objects. You can choose this option if you want to drop the target objects. For now, I'm not going to do this because I don't have anything created there. Pay attention to the generated script directory. In here, you will have the scripts as well as all of the log files of this migration process. Click on next. There are two modes available: offline, in which the scripts are just going to get generated and saved to this script directory. However, let's go with the online option, in which the scripts are going to get generated as well as executed. Source, target, looks good. Next, finish. Migration started. It should not take long. Small database again. Okay. Migration actions have completed.